Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Just milking Annie in the background there, and what a great week. The housing order has been lifted. It's actually been lifted tomorrow or today if you're probably watching this video. So going to be a lot of work getting ready to get the hens back out in pasture, and it's very concerning how far into the year that's gone, but we'll talk about that a bit later in the video. Let's check out what we got up to. Okay, we're up at farm 2 again here, and I've actually got the head down here. I didn't film much because I just wanted to get it done. I was able to get the quad up here, which is quite handy. I should really take the spade up, make a bit more of a path. There's a few humps that I have to get over with it, and it being only a 2-wheel drive quad, you just have to get off and push a little bit. That's fine. So I've ran in, this is a 3/4 heavy gauge hydro pipe. This runs back up to the well. I've actually found, I think there's 2 water sources up here. There's one smaller one and one bigger one. I hooked into the smaller one because it's closer, but if that becomes drier in dry weather, I just need to put on more pipe and get on to the bigger water source. They run off down over there, so I just need to get up enough head. I'm actually got plenty of head here. This is my intake pipe going into a gravel filter, and if I can lift this pipe up almost 15 foot before the water stops, that tells me I've got good head here. And pulled up my IBC, and this will hold 1,000 litres. And you know, you could have multiple, I could have 4 or 5 IBCs here all hooked together if I was running, say, a market garden or something that had massive water usage. Obviously you would need a good inflow. If you were using 4,000 litres a day, you need to have 4,000 litres a day passing. The idea would be that it would probably fill up overnight, and then you would use it during the day, or vice versa. Now I've just hooked on, I've ran out. This is 1/2 inch normal gauge hydro pipe. I don't need heavy pipe because all this is doing, I mean, the heaviest thing going over this will either be a quad or an animal, and once the grass grows over it a little bit, it'll be totally safe. This runs off down to meet where the tank used to be, and it'll hook onto that pipe there that was originally onto the tank. So I'll run water the whole way to the bottom of the farm from here, and I should have a massive head, so that should give me real good pressure. And I need to put some tees in this obviously on the way down, so I can have water here and in the next paddock down and the next paddock down. So I don't have the tees with me this evening to do that, but it's easy. You can stick in a tee in 2 seconds. So I just got to wait now for the water to fill up here. It's only starting to fill because this pipe is actually going uphill before it goes downhill. I need to get a bit of water and pressure in this, then I got to go down and suck on the end of that pipe until I get the water up over the hill, and then gravity should do the rest of it. And as long as I don't let this empty and let any air into the system, it'll continue and stay pressurized indefinitely. Happy days. I've just moved these guys in. Goats are browsing in some of the trees. These trees are pretty well established, so I'm not too worried about the goats doing them a bit of damage. And if the tank's filled up, this is the first 150 meter section. It's just, I was been sucking in the top of this pipe here, and it's just starting to un-airlock itself. It'll take it a wee while to get all the air out of the system, get running. And I'm actually going to just stop here for now. And I've got a big tank with a ball cock that I need to attach to this, but I'm going to run another section from here down to the start of my original pipe is there, and once I connect them two, I'll have water all the way down there coming from all the way up there. I've just been having problems getting the pipe to fully airlock, so what I've done is I come back up and I've just jammed my outlet pipe into my inlet pipe. So I'm pushing water down because I've got a lot more head over here. It's just getting over this bloody height here. So what I'll do now is I'll let this pipe's going to fill up, and it's open on the bottom. So now I'm going to walk down, and when the water's running well through it, I'm going to cap it at the end. Then I come back up. What that means is this pipe is full of water. I come back up then and I re-hook up to my tank, and when I uncap it at the end, the weight of the water on that side of the hill is going to start to go out, and it's going to actually suck the water up the hill here, and that will get it flowing. That's the plan anyway. Hopefully it works. Been at this now for about 20 minutes, and it was supposed to be a 5-minute job. So as you can see, it's coming into full flow down here. Just a little bit of air in there, so I'm going to let it run for a little while until it's running pretty much constant. And then I'm just going to hook it onto this here, because this is an end pipe, and that'll mean the pipe is full of water. Then I just got to go up reconnect it to my tank, and come back down here, and the weight of the water will pull the water out of the tank. Happy days. There we go now. It's quite a bit of air, and there's a 150-meter pipe, so when you add up the circumference, it's half an inch, so that's about 12.5 mils diameter. So figure out what is the volume of that pipe. 150 meters by 12.5 mil diameter. It's quite a bit of volume of water, I'd imagine, more than you would think. So I got to push out all the air, and there now we've got a good steady flow there now. I'll let that run for another minute or two, then I'll cap it off, go up, switch my pipes back. I should have done this from the start, but you're always assuming the easiest way will work, aren't you? There we go. That's the pipes all reconnected back the way they should be, and I had to tie down this outflow pipe because it was just curving up a little bit, which was creating a little airlock. So now that I've just tied it down, that's my overflow. Flows off in there to the drain, and you can that's quite difficult to see. I can see it, but I will pull it out so you can see. There's the overflow. The tank just needs to fill up a little bit, but yeah, this is maybe taking me, it's quite windy up here, but this is maybe taking me 2 hours to install it. I came up here yesterday, moved the tank up, rolled out the cable, set up the siphons, and then I'm probably I'd say I'm about 45 minutes out of it today, finishing it off. And what the time that's going to save me, because I would have to carry water to this whole half of the farm. The flood are drinking about 50 litres a day, depending on the weather, 50-60 litres, and that's actually probably more in the warmer weather. Now that I think about it, they were drinking about, I was filling 40 litres twice a day, so they're probably going closer to 80 litres in the warmer weather. A lot of the goats are producing milk, the mama cow is producing milk, the mama sheep are producing milk, so they have quite a high water usage for just the time of year that's in it. And if I was to carry that, you know, that's 80 kilos of water every day. I'm going to be on this farm here. We have another 2, 4, probably 5 more days. You know, that's half a ton of water I'd have to carry. So, and every time we come around this farm and graze this, I'd have to do that. So by investing 2 hours now, I've saved my back a hell of a load, and the cost is minimal. I already had the tank here. That was, you know, an IBC tank, 1,000 litre tank's like 50 euros. This half-inch hydro pipe is, I think it's just over 50 euros a roll, so it's not expensive for it's just light gauge. You can splash out, get like 3/4 heavy gauge, probably cost you maybe another 50 euros or thereabouts. But you know, I've invested some fittings, no more than 100 euros there, to save me all this work indefinitely into the future. That's where it really pays to research your property. So when I installed the water system here first a year ago, I installed it down here behind me. That was the only water source, permanent water source I could find. But by looking up old maps, and you know, most countries have either a government database or there's private companies that you can get access to mapping, and I found it was actually on the land directory that there was right away to a well right up at the back of the property. And when I went and investigated that, it was quite some time after. It was in the winter time when I was just doing a bit of research on the property and trying to do a bit of planning. Sorry guys, I'm going to swing over a fence here. That I found that well was there, and in the springtime when I went up and investigate, I found it, and it just meant that I had now water on the whole property, which is awesome. And it's gravity fed, which is super handy, low maintenance, very reliable. So I just got to make a big, I'm going to make like a maybe 50 or 80 litre water tank for them now, just so that they've got some decent water available in each paddock, as opposed to up to now I was relying on high pressure, low volume. The pressure's really good there, but I think with cows not having, before I just had sheep and goats, and sheep and goats don't have that much of a water demand when you compare it to cows. So I think it'd be a good idea to have a bigger water trough in the paddock. So that's the next thing I'm going to work on. Okay, so this is quite a special. This was a water tank. It used to have a ball cock here. This was actually one of the only original pieces of infrastructure on the farm when we moved here, and it tells me there must have been cattle on the farm at some point, because it's too high for sheep, and it was buried way off in the ditch over there. I'm actually going to reuse this, but I need to take it down lower, maybe down to here, so that the sheep and goats can drink easily, and that's going to hold loads of water. Now I'll leave a little bit of a tongue on it so I can attach a the word will come to me yet, ball cock to regulate the water. So I just need to get it cut up. So there we have it, our ball cock, simply put on by tightening these two bolts together. I've put a bit of plumber's tape on there, and now I've just got to go a female to female 1/2 inch brass fitting. This gets threaded on here, which is difficult to do looking through the camera, so I've got to use my real lookers. I tighten this on, then this guy, put some tape on him, he goes in here, and then our 1/2 inch hydro pipe can go straight in here, and that's me all hooked up. And there we have, job done. Just waiting for it to fill up. Make sure the valve cuts out and it's not overflowing, and everything works nice. But happy days, it's been dead easy, and I've worked this out so that it'll hold a half a day's worth of water. So even if the water got cut off, as long as it's full, whenever I'm checking them, they're going to have enough water to see them through the day. So that's a good job, well done. And you can see the pressure we've got there. It's just gravity fed. Happy days. No more carrying buckets. This would be quite a bit of water to be tipping out every day when you're on daily move. So I'll only use this tank when I'm on this farm, and it's for that safety, that when I'm not here, to ensure they still have water. Back on the home farm, we use a much smaller water container, and we've got much higher pressure in the water, and I'm also around all the time, so I don't worry so much there. But you know, we don't have so much water issues in Ireland. We have water, you know, coming out our ears, so I'm not worried about having to decant this every day and move it. I'm probably tipping out, there's the guts of maybe 40-50 litres in there, but I'm happy to do that in the out farm, knowing that it leaves enough water for the day here. Okay, I got the piggies loaded up. Took a little bit of time. It was a bit awkward. I generally don't record stuff, so when you're working with animals like pigs, you really don't know how it's going to go, and it's enough to manage all the animals and get them loaded, to be managing cameras as well. So what I done was I just backed right up into the polytunnel here, and I used some I'm spinning, trying to get taken off again. Let me fix that up. That's that. And I was using pig boards in these crates, and I got the trailer right back into the door here, and they haven't been fed this morning. They're about 2 hours over their feed time, so they're hungry. I took the feeding tray and put some feed in the trailer. They really weren't that keen, so I slowly worked them up, and I was putting them up in twos. And once they got up there, they were eating away at the feed and they were happy, and eventually I got them all up. So I need to take this pig board with me, and I'm going down. Now the tomato plants, hopefully we'll get them planted in, and I'll get my gate back, and we'll get in here sorted out. We've got to get it mucked out, and the plan is to move this polytunnel this spring. I might leave it, or this summer, sorry. I might leave it here until right before we move it. I was thinking of just taking it down, clearing this space off, but it's a handy little space to have, so I might just clear it out and keep it, and then just before we're going to move it, then tear it down and move it. One other job I want to do, I've got a spare pig nippler, so I may as well, this is a bigger group, I may as well stick it on the barrel for these. And like I was saying, sorry guys, in another video, what I use, I've got this, so hard to do stuff one-handed, and if I had a third hand, I would probably use it for work as well, instead of holding the camera. This is a tank fitting, if I can get it to spin, there we go. You know guys, I'm in the business of farming, not YouTubing, so I just take you along. For me to set up a tripod and put a phone or a camera sitting on there and record it, and then come here and do this and go back and get it, it's all time I really don't have at the minute. So that's why you're getting it very raw. Apologies for that, but this is, oh, just a 1/2 inch brass tank fitting. So this goes from the ends. I take off this nut here, and the washer and brass comes from the inside of the tank. Then the nut goes on, that keeps it sealed. Yes, come out of the way, good gear. We use some plumber's tape. Then this female goes on, and that means then we can put the male from the, he wants to, okay, we'll do it like this. We put the female on like that, and then our pig nippler goes in, and that's a solid job. Now, I had someone comment that they have threaded these in with success in the past. That's totally fine. If that works for you, man, go for it. Or anyone, like what I'm doing, everything I'm showing you in the farm is what works here for me in my context. And if I'm telling you stuff that doesn't work, it just doesn't work for me. That doesn't mean it won't work for you. And by all means, guys, try stuff, experiment. But I know for me, when I used to just put them straight in, they wouldn't last no length. Whereas when I put these guys on them, they're a good robust job. But again, it's not about what works for me, guys. It's all about what works for you. Right, that's that guy on, shiny new guy. And the other thing now I want to fit is a ball cock. And just in the hardware, like every time I go to the hardware now, it seems to be like 100 euros. I remember when I started the farm, when I went to the hardware, it was like, you know, for 30, 40 euros. Just the price of everything is inflated. Like I'm so glad I started the farm on the way out of a recession, when the cost of materials was so cheap. And I knew that at the time. I knew like this was a really good time to start a business for building up infrastructure. And I spent a lot of money early on with that in mind. Some advice I was given from a good friend, who was a very successful entrepreneur, always said recessions are the best time to start any business, and his advice was start as many businesses as possible in a recession, and you can sell them then when the economy picks up, and you'll have made a good bit of money just on the back of the economy. And I suppose that's something to be mindful when you're trying to start a farm now. Like it's tough because your money goes in places where you do not see. It's not the big pieces of infrastructure, it's all the little things. Like this outfit here, I'm guessing the cock valve is like 6 euros, the ball at the end is 150, that's 750. Then there's a collar here, 8, 9, and then the plastic fitting, you're nearly 15 euros in my hand. And all these things add up. That's just one water, you know. And then we've got a barrel, and then we've got these nipple drinkers in the back. It's all adding up. Now you can obviously bootstrap it, but bootstrapping has its limitations. It can be time consuming, can be very draining on your body. So you can only do that for so long, and really if you're serious about it, you got to invest. So it's always in the back of my mind, and maybe brings me on to the point. I've completely put the egg slaughter or poultry slaughtering on hold. So my intentions was to convert this into a poultry slaughtery, and one of the main reasons is, if we go in here and explain that to people, will think, God, that seems strange. I mean, it's totally logical in my head. I turn this on. So I've just got, this is just over 6 tons of broiler feed, 5,000 euros. You know, that is ridiculous. For me, it just tips the point. Broilers, like I'm in a very rural location, so I'm limited to how much I can get. I can't keep putting up my price of my end product. So broilers were on the fence for being a productive aspect of the farm, and that just tips them over. The price of grain going where it's going, and I don't think it's coming down. I think it's going to continue to rise due to things happening in the world, ongoing things. So I've put this on hold. It makes no sense for me. It would have taken an investment of another probably 5,000 or 6,000 euros to finish this. I already invested in equipment, but I'm not worried about that. I could sell that off again, and I bought it in a recession, so I'll actually make money on that equipment if I wanted to sell it. But I'm happy to put it on hold and see where things go here. I'm not going to make any rash decisions, but I'm going to reduce my broiler production this year by quite a bit. I was planning to put out about 1,500 birds. I'm probably only going to put out maybe like half of that, 750, and just get a contract slaughtered, because it's just not, you know, It's borderline using Ross 308. I would say it's ecologically, I'm not that keen on that. Socially it is beneficial because we're producing quality chicken, but economically it's starting to become dodgy now. So 2 of the 3 legs of my stool are iffy. I know I need to start moving away. And the other thing that's on my mind, you know, I'm also thinking about reducing my layer operation. Again, heavily grain intensive. There's a limit to what I can charge for an egg here. Now, if I was further south in Ireland, that'd probably be a different ball game. I could increase my price more and stay with it. But again, I believe like the price of organic layer feed is going to continue to go up, and at some point you had a roof of the sales price of your product. And that's just like, I had a really good run with layers, man. Everything you see on the farm, layers paid for basically. But times are changing, and like I said in other videos, I'm thinking about becoming getting into goat's milk, and I'm going to need an area to process that milk and maybe make cheese with it and have a little milking parlour. And I'm running out of space in the farm here, so actually what I'm thinking is, rather than spend more money and put in a poultry slaughtery that doesn't make a whole pile of economical sense, I should maybe look at turning this into a milking parlour. So that's where I'm at the minute. I'm kind of just taking things slow right now, seeing how things develop, constantly reviewing my cost of production, and then move the farm in whatever direction makes the most sense. Okay, piggies are in their new home. I was able to get the trailer up here with my dad's quad. It was just about fit to make it. I think if I had one more pig on we wouldn't have made it, guys, but we made it. And guys are settling in. I've fenced off up as far as about that tree line up there, and we'll let them run on this and then we'll move them. It's quite a big, we'll kind of split this into 4 paddocks for them and move them along. This is their shelter. I built this for my very first pigs and it's been working ever since. Trusty old shelter. It's been actually up here all winter. But these guys will be happy to be out again. We got their water. We got all the water and the power come from shades way over there. So I've just spent a while setting them up. These guys are going to love this. I'm going to let them settle in. I got to go and turn on the water and fill up the barn. Got the water running, if you can hear it there. You know, pigs are happy when they're really hungry. They haven't been fed since yesterday evening, and they just leave their feed and they go off up here for a play. They're just exploring, happy being pigs. Hey, piggies. Hi, pigs. Hey, girls, boys, how we doing? He's happy. He's happy. There's 2 little guys. Here's one of them coming. Here's the other one here. They're kind of my little favourites. Here's another little guy here. Happy pigs, happy farmer, happy everybody. It's a win-win-win. Hey, piggy. You can see there how he's been fence trained, and he's seen the fence and he's like, I don't want to get me near that. What do you think, guy? We're just in the brooder and a bit noisy, but it's the evening feed and the birds are now 2 weeks old today, and we've got the lights off during the day. Then I'm just turning them on now for nighttime. We'll do that for 3 more days and then we'll go lights off completely. The birds are doing really well and they're aggressively eating now, but I'm really happy. And thankfully the housing order is lifted, so these can go outside in another week and we don't have to keep them in here. As I was mentioning earlier, I have reduced the broilers this year. I get a lot of inquiries about quality chicken, organic or chemical free chicken. So I am hopeful that there's a certain percentage of people out there that are willing to pay even a bit above what I charge at the minute for premium chicken. But just with the way grain's going, there's no point in me killing myself for very little money. You know, that just doesn't make sense. It's not. I suppose it comes back to I have no emotional attachment to any enterprise on the farm. I'm emotionally attached to my principles, which are to be ecologically, socially and economically viable, or regenerative would be a better word. And these guys, there was the first few years I done broilers, you could make some money at them, more so if you were processing them yourself, and that's the direction I was heading. But whatever money I've invested in any equipment or infrastructure has been paid for. That's how I run the farm. All the infrastructure has to be paid for in year one, and that way then I can easily cut loose an enterprise if things change. And that's the way it's looking at these broilers now. Hope maybe markets will change and it'll not be the case, but currently with the price of grain where it is for me, it's pastured broilers is something I need to phase out. I might do it on a very small scale, and charge what I need to charge, and I'll have a small percentage of my customers that will pay that, no problem. And I'm always going to be producing chicken for myself anyway, so you know, we'll probably use maybe 100 chickens a year ourselves, so it's just as easy to do a batch of 300 as it is to do a batch of 100. So you know, I put the feelers out there, see what my customers want, and it's easy to put them in the freezer. And generally customers that are really in that mindset about quality food don't mind taking it from the freezer anyway. So that's where I'm at with the broilers. I'm just trying to figure out the exact plan for the rest of this year, because we've got trainings and that at the farm, and I want to have full broiler production for that. And we'll also probably set up for home kill. We'll set up the slaughtery, because I've got most of the equipment anyway, so when people are here training, they'll still be able to go through the whole slaughter process. And as long as we're not selling those birds, we'll eat them ourselves. That's totally fine. I suppose a little update on where we're at with the egg mobile and the certification. I suppose maybe the first thing I want to talk about is one of the worrying things too about pastured poultry is housing orders, and it's been a bit scary. I've been scared this year, because we've been under a housing order for, I think, don't quote me on this, but it's close to 20 weeks, and 16 weeks is the cutoff for free range. And there's been very little, from what I could see, public awareness campaign to inform the public that free range eggs is no longer an item in Ireland. I've been watching what's been happening in Northern Ireland and the UK, and there's been a lot of debate in the media and a lot of information and was circulated about it. Now, I'm not saying there hasn't been any information circulated around Ireland. There might be stuff in the media and that I haven't seen, but it's been kept very low key by the Department of Agriculture in this country, and that scares me a lot to think about that. And that brings me on then to the issue of me getting certified. And again, everything I talk about is my opinion and my thoughts. The department are being very, very difficult to deal with. It's just going down, and everything's getting kicked down the line. They're just not interested, in my opinion, and that's, you know, they seem all they want to be interested in is big commercial houses full of chickens. That's just my opinion of the feel I'm getting, and they're making it very difficult, and it's just going to be an ongoing process. I think it's going to take months to get this ratified. I truly believe I meet every EU regulation. You know, there's no EU regulation that I am not meeting, but they're just being difficult to deal with at the minute, and it can be tough. Now, I'm very lucky. Good friends of mine at Knocknarea Farm, they're in a very similar position as me, so it's good to have other people in that position. Gives me, you know, a bit of support, and I suppose I'm support for them as well, to keep going, keep pushing, because we're like, you know, sometimes you can be dealing with these people and they make you feel like you're wrong in what you're doing and what you're trying to do, that it's against the, you know, it's not normal, it's not right, and we shouldn't do it, and that's not true. In fact, when you look at the bird's psychological and physical need, I believe, you know, we're much closer to meeting that than what the very conventional system is doing currently, free range systems, say, or organic, and we have to stick true to our beliefs. So that's where we're kind of at with that. Yeah, it's very frustrating, but when, you know what they say, the nail that sticks up is always the nail that gets hammered. That's it for this video, guys. Hopefully the next video we'll have a lot of footage of getting the new egg mobile in, And very possibly, if I get on very well with this new egg mobile and I really like how it's operating, I'm going to be putting this egg mobile here up for sale. So if you're interested in getting your hands on an egg mobile, keep an eye out. In the next month or so I'll be making that decision and maybe getting this one ready to find a new home, because I am really confident this new egg mobile is going to really revolutionize how I do things here at the farm and be a really good job for the birds.